I think as a man, I've been having this perspective recently. One of the best, one of the best reflections to yourself in the physical world that shows you who you are is women.
Hmm. Yeah. No, definitely. And I feel like personally, I've been feeling that type of growth physically, mentally, spiritually. And it is revolving a lot around women. Um, a lot of it is, it really shows you who you are in the deepest sense, to be honest, and the most, I think it really shows you how much confidence you truly have.
Mm.
Because you can fake it, and a lot of girls do fall for that. But I feel like um, it's very hard to keep it, like keep it
Consistent.
going. Or what was that?
Keep it consistent
Keep it consistent, yeah. 'Cause you can have
throughout the
your feel,
relationship.
yeah, throughout a whole relationship, but not only relationship, but like keeping it real with yourself and like truly finding yourself and not numbing yourself to a lot of things. Yeah, I feel like if you keep doing it, it just makes you not realize if you can be like this fake confidence. If you keep doing it, it truly just makes you not authentic, which then comes off as just fake, and you can tell when people are like that. Um,
Yes.
so yeah.
The I would say that the emotionally mature person sees best. One who isn't clouded by his or her emotions, one who like understands himself at a deep level is able is can pick up on those things unless like it's just blatantly obvious. Um so you said something earlier that I want to talk a little bit more about. You said that it's hard to like maintain your confidence throughout a relationship. I find that very interesting. You know, like you would think that through in a relationship, like if anything, your confidence should increase. You know, but what came to my mind with that, and I want to know your thoughts on this too. What came to my mind with that is that like perhaps that confidence decreases, and this is my own personal experience. I feel like confidence can decrease in a relationship because a lot of times when I in the past when I've gone up to a girl, I put on this front, this fake confidence, and it's as time has progressed, I think it's become more real. But I noticed that like in those times where I approach it with that fake confidence, and I feel like a lot of guys will put this pressure on themselves to always be that guy all the time. But the way that I see it, I think number one, if like I don't think anyone's that guy all the time.
Yeah.
I think that like 1%, maybe 2% of our conversation of our population is able to like just be that all the time. But the way that I see it, like being a human, even as a man, is about having faults and weaknesses. And um, I'm at the point now where it's like the way that I see it is like women. It's like when they see that weak side of you, it's like their entire perception of you is washed out because unless she's very compassionate and very mature and very understanding and the love there is real. But and I think I definitely could be projecting putting this outward, but it's like I feel like if I fall back on that, then I will lose the interest of the woman, and it has happened before. Where like I'm very confident in the beginning, and then it kind of fades. It kind of fades. I'm out of my frame, and then over time the relationship just crumbles. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, yeah, I like what you said, because it's really the deeper you get into it in any relationship is what I'm thinking right now. It could be a friend, it could be family, and it could be a girl. I feel like no matter what it is that slowly but surely you're looking at a mirror and you start seeing the cracks that are falling in between,
Right.
and it's scary. Like, because in the beginning, the fake confidence, they don't know who you are. They haven't seen you react to a certain situation. They haven't seen you fall. They haven't seen you be embarrassing. They haven't seen you do all this. So it's that mystery that, well, women really like a lot. But it's also that mystery that keeps you from being a stronger and better person. Because I was also the same way, and it was so easy to just fake this confidence and just sleep with a girl and be like, okay, like I'm that guy, and it feels good at the moment. You're like, I'm that guy, but when you're in a relationship, it's a whole different thing because it's like they want to see you actually hold it together when things go bad, and I feel like they
Mm.
test you a lot, especially women. I feel like that might be, I don't know if that's an accurate representation, but I feel like maybe both men and women are testing each other to see, okay, is this person compatible with me? Is this person gonna, when shit hits the fan, are we going through it, or is it gonna just be like, go ahead and um, not be there for them? So I feel like the longer you are in a relationship, the longer they see your dark side, and they let you know, and it's honestly one of the worst feelings when you find out something bad about yourself. It's you don't want to know, and you keep it in a cloud of judgment as well. But once you find out where your problems lie, that just means growth the next day, you know. And it's not only just the problems, but it's also how to deal with that problem in order to be the best at growing. So
Yeah, it's just no, not. It's just it's it's very there. Are very I think there are very few people who will stick around with you whenever you're in your depths, whenever you're in that darkness, and I'm really not having anything come to me right now about this topic.
well, I can say more. Yeah, when you're in the depths, and obviously, and then you think immediately family and they can hold you together and support you when you are in your debts. And it's good that people like have a support team because I'm glad I do. If it does hit the fan, I know that I'll be not taken care of, but knowing that I'm not doing it alone in a way, and that's been feeling good for me recently. So, but but I think going back to what we're talking about is in seeing your darker shadow self. At first, I used to be very scared of it. I used to be very scared of what does this person think about my flaws? What does that person like, or what does that guy mean by, oh, like you should do this better? It's like, it's scary to know that you are flawed, but once you know that you are flawed, it's just growth from there. And that's where I'm really taking it right now, where it's like, I'm growing this confidence from taking my flaws in and actually working on them, not just like hearing from someone and be like, fuck off, you don't know what I do or what I am, and like it's because it's a ego, you know, it hurts the ego right there immediately. It's like, damn, wow, that hurt. Wow, that meant so much to me. I clinged onto that, and the fact that you said I did the exact opposite of what I was thinking that I could do hurts a lot. So clinging to that idea just makes you cling to the idea of I'm great or I'm a good person or whatever that knows my shit am 100% not flawed just crumbles immediately when you have true confidence. But the people I feel like that have the most true confidence that I'm seeing recently is that they take that feedback. Don't take it personal. Don't take it to the chest. I mean, it might hurt for a little bit, but just understand where they're coming from and seeing exactly like what they mean by it.
Right. And I think not taking it personal is definitely like number one because oftentimes, like, I mean, the way that I view things now is that someone else's opinion is like the cheapest commodity that that they have to offer. I like to look at it like the more that you know me, or the more that I think that you know me, the more valuable your opinion is to me. You know, because a little bit of backstory as to, you know, as to how you and I became friends.
Yeah.
You know, you thought I was an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, you thought that I was a dickhead. And like, you know, if you would have told me that at the time, I mean, I think I'm not too sure exactly how I would have taken it. I feel like if I would have heard Andrew thinks you're an asshole, I think I would have just say like, why? I don't know that fucking guy. You
That bitch.
know?
Yeah.
Um I had a point.
That,
Um
yeah.
oh yeah, but like but I do think well, you don't want to think too much as to you know, is that a you know, why did he say that? You know? Um But now that we know each other, and if you were to actually tell me that I'm like being an asshole, because I feel like because you have seen so much of me now, you've seen like so much of my yin, so much of my yang. It's like you can tell when Isaac's being cool or when Isaac's being a dick. You know my behaviors, you know, um, or like when I'm acting different or something's off, you know, like you'll just be able to you know me so well, you'll be able to tell me like you'll be able to tell like Isaac's just not himself today. You know, and I feel like when getting to know somebody, it's like you should give them more grace, you know, because like you begin to understand more and more, oh, this is just another human being. You know what I mean? Um I had a point that I was gonna make with all that about taking taking criticism. Oh yeah, about like how depending on the person who it comes from, it definitely makes a difference. Um but at the same time, like we're all human, and you know, hearing something from anyone can like have an effect on you, especially if you like already believe it about yourself. You know?
No, and I agree with that because, and not only that, but also what I've been seeing is what I tell other people or what people are telling me. Like, I feel like maybe 6 or 7 times out of 10, um, I feel like it's a projection of what they are of what they're seeing in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quite crazy to see that way when you're like, because when you hear the feedback, you're thinking, wow, that's about me, but it's really not only about you, it's about, you know, maybe that's how he feels about himself, or maybe today was a rough day for her and she took it out on you, knowing that maybe that's something someone else told her. So maybe it could even be like a chain reaction where multi- multiple people have told the same story, the same line. Maybe when it comes to you, it's not, it doesn't make sense in your head because you're like, wait, hold on, like, how is that even like close to what it is? And then you think about it, and they start talking, and they're like, "Well, it's just because my boss did this today, or this guy in the street said this to me today," and it's like, "What?" It's like, how are we there?
You know what? Now that like I'm thinking about it, bro, I don't even from people who love you, who know you, I I'm gonna contradict the fuck out of myself right now.
Yeah.
I feel like you shouldn't give a See, now I'm about to contradict that. I was about to say you shouldn't give a fuck about what anyone says, but at the same time, like I think there's a balance
Right, right.
with everything. It's like you don't want to care too much about what people think because you'll be so easily controlled by like the the outside, but you
Right,
don't want to like completely not give a fuck about what anyone thinks because that could lead to arrogance and that could lead to being like a poor listener and ignorant, you know?
right.
So it's like where's that balance?
And that's I've been realizing that a lot too. It's like I feel like it's so hard to find that balance, and I feel like life is all about balancing things. And it's like you can be a good listener, but then it's like, oh, but you don't talk enough, and then it's like, or you could be a good talker, and it's like you didn't let me talk. So it's definitely a balance. And actually, that was one of the things I was thinking earlier today is that I feel like in my own perspective, I did listen. I think I listened to too. I listened to too much, maybe. And
Mm.
I do like where my life is at right now, but like recently with what we've been thinking about and how we talk about these ideas and these thoughts is that I feel like I wasn't truly doing it for myself and what I was doing. Um, I feel like,
As in listening?
well, as in yeah, like as in like taking people's advice or taking feedback too much or like being in the I guess in the shell of don't cross any of this. If not, you're gonna hear it from this person or you're gonna hear it from that person. It's like, and like sometimes I'm like, wow, I just want to do me. And recently, I've been doing a lot more me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very powerless position when you're so at the mercy of other people around you. Like giving your power away. Um, I think that I'm starting to think this now, especially with us having this podcast and all that. Is like we're gonna be. It's like we're on here to speak our truth, and there are going to be people who are going to dislike and going to judge and are going to disagree with us. But like the way I view this, and it's beautiful. It's like this is a perfect challenge. How secure are we within ourselves?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
No.
like are we gonna get the first negative comment and shut down and like and start doubting ourselves and um and just give up, or are we gonna like just see that as like as life? Because for me, it's been like just accepting there are going to be people who don't like you. And I think that like that starts. I feel like that really starts with being okay. Well, first of all, liking yourself, and then second of all, um, being okay with disliking people.
Okay.
Like I noticed this like for like the longest time. I've been I've always viewed everybody like that's my friend, every single person, and like it's like everything within transfers with transfers without, and then so on and so forth. And I always thought that everybody looked at me as a friend. I would project my thoughts onto that's something that I do a lot. I project my thinking onto other people, or that I used to do a lot. I do it a lot less now. But being okay with like disliking other humans and like finding comfort in that. And I feel like the more comfortable that you are with just admitting I don't like that person, the more comfortable that you are with like, oh, I don't that person doesn't like me.
Yeah.
And like figuring out learning who to take that advice from.
Right.
You
And
know?
I mean, and that even goes down to even like you said with women. Because you know you probably done the same thing, and probably everyone else has. But a girl says something, and they're like, "Oh, I like the color pink," and you go, "I also like the color pink." But you know your ass is fucking lying to your core that you do not like the color pink, or you know they say something that like, oh, I like to go on dates and travel and all that, and you're not a big fan of any of those things, like, but you lie in order to make her like you, and usually with me, that's I think I noticed that recently about myself is that if I don't like the color pink, I will make it known to people, no matter if I'm trying to seek it out romantically with that person or even just friendships in general. I feel like I don't want to fake things anymore. Like I don't want to be like that's oh um you like paper towels. I don't even know what I'm paper towels is a good example. Oh, I like Bounty and you don't like Bounty. Like I'm gonna make it known, and it's like it's not because I want to make that person hate me, but it's because I want to make them known that I have a voice and an opinion, and it can be different from yours, and it's okay, and it's totally okay.
Yeah. I just imagine you being with the girl at a store and you guys are going down the aisle.
Baby,
She's like, oh my
Bounty,
god. Oh my
Bounty,
god, I
or
love Bounty. And you're just sitting there like staring at her like, fuck Bounty.
you look her straight in the fucking eyes, and you tell her, I fucking hate Bounty, dog. baby, Charmin Ultra Soft or Angel Soft? I fucking hate Angel Soft, you fucker. Oh, God, let that one out.
Yeah, fuck Bounty.
Fuck Bounty, man.
If Bounty sees this, we don't want your fucking paper towels. We don't give a fuck about your sponsorship.
Man, talk about a quicker picker upper. I mean, Bounty's just like,
That's their slogan. Yeah, fuck that slogan.
fuck that slogan, bro. Like anything about Bounty, fuck it. I don't care. I really don't
Yeah.
care. But it takes a lot of balls, but it takes a lot of, I think, a lot of emotional and maturity that I felt like I needed to understand that it's okay. They will still. I think they'll value you more if you not disagree with them, but just state your how you feel about things immediately. Because I think people like it when someone has an opinion and someone actually is a human being that is going through life and knows what he wants or knows what he believes in. So yeah.
Right. It's funny that you say that because I was watching a video today on this course that I'm taking on like energy and intuition. And one of the courses that I was on was about setting healthy boundaries. And, the healthier the boundaries that you set, what you just said, people are going to be more comfortable around you because they're going to know where you stand. They don't gotta constantly guess. And it's so funny because, people can be very scared to set boundaries, but like it's so counterintuitive the way that it works because it's like in setting boundaries, in not seeking the tension but like being okay with the tension of a disagreement, like you actually create more respect and more trust within each other rather than like, if you and I were at a store and I pick up fucking Bounty and you're like, oh, I was like, what do you think about Bounty, Andrew? And then you're like, oh yeah, let's get Bounty. I love Bounty. But like I know you don't actually love Bounty, then like I'm gonna be like, I don't know, there's this thing that happens. Trying to like put like a word to it or like a description to it. There's this it's like if I'm gonna be making all like your decisions for you, how do I word this? Help me out here if you know what I'm saying.
I feel like maybe not. It's not like a spineless because if you're spineless, I guess that means, oh, maybe, because like if you don't really care, that you can let anyone tell you anything and you'll be fine with it. And I don't think spineless is the right word for it.
It's just, I mean, you'll just lose respect for that person. It's like, and this goes back into like the importance of having a voice. You know, valuing what you're saying. Um, you know, I just think that in having an opinion and like sticking to it and being grounded in that, you know, it's like that motherfucker that won't quit.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
everyone hates him, but everyone respects him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's like being with a girl. And I noticed this with this girl that I was getting to know a few weeks ago. She man, like I dodged a bullet
Nice.
not not talking to her, and I almost fell into the trap, but um this girl was like contradicting herself so much in the conversation. And this was our very first conversation, and I just started calling her out on everything. And and it's so funny, bro. Like the more that I would call her out on her contradictions, the more like she started to flirt with me. The more like feminine she started to sound. Like she was laughing all the time at like the littlest things, and and I noticed that like later on that night, I kind of like bent out of my frame a little bit. You know, I wasn't really holding my ground as hard, and and then before the conversation ended, she actually gaslit me. Like there was so, there, she had this tone. I picked up on it, and then I tell her what's wrong, and she's like, "Nothing. You're overthinking it." And I was just like, "Okay." And then the next day, I talked to her, and the energy's different, you know, because I I didn't I didn't stick to what I was thinking. Even if I could have been wrong, I felt like I was right in that moment, but I like allowed like her um I caved into her energy
Mm.
instead of like standing true with mine. And it's like it's like if with women, if like you just keep it a buck all the time, if you don't give a fuck, like they may not like you, they may hate you. Girls will say, "Oh, I fucking hate you," but like oftentimes, whenever like a girl says she hates a guy, she probably it's likely that she also really respects him. You know what I mean?
I get that because there's been some people in my life, like maybe they were harsh on me, or they said some things. And I'm like, in the moment, fuck you. But then like you start thinking about it, you're like, um, they say fuck you, or like, and then, like the first thought you think is fuck you because that hurt, and then the second, like you're like, when you long term think about it, you're like, that actually really helped me. So I
Mm-hmm.
that's probably what it is. That in the short term, well, like my
Yeah, like learning, like it's such a powerful thing to be able to walk away when something isn't good for you.
yeah,
You know, and I feel like a lot of times when something's not good for us, we know, but we don't trust ourselves enough
yeah,
to to like take that leap. And I think it comes from a place of scarcity. Like, and I think this is why, you know, it what we were talking about earlier, I think that even lying comes from a place of scarcity. Like you're scared to lose something. So by telling the truth, so to like be in a comfortable in what you think is the comfortable place of telling the truth, um sorry, instead of doing the uncomfortable thing of telling the truth, you do the comfortable thing of lying to keep the person around.
mm,
um and I feel like, you know, even in lying to yourself, you can do the same thing. Like you can lie to yourself to keep people around when like if you're like in a bad crowd, but and you feel like you feel like it's a bad crowd, but like and you feel like you're probably best if you leave, but you don't want to leave because you don't feel like you could find another crowd. That's a scarcity thing, and like you lie to yourself, but when internally you know like that you should probably go somewhere else, and that can apply to like uh friends, that can apply to girls, that can apply to jobs, that can apply to fucking everything, you
Yeah.
know. So I think like just being honest with yourself first and foremost. I feel like the more honest you are with yourself, like the more honest you can be with like everything else.
Yes. Yes.
Like let me ask you a question. If you're comfortable talking about last night, did you did you feel like what you were doing was a good idea?
So that's kind of funny that you they talk about that because the whole time going there, I just felt I'm like this is not something I should be doing right now, and like it was
Mm.
in the back of my mind, and like when I parked, I was like, there was like 2 minutes. I remember there was 2 minutes I was sitting in the car, and I was like, I'm gonna drive off. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be here right now.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's many reasons for why I don't want to do um or what I did. It was first that was and I feel like that was just socially because of we were going to a party and stuff like that. So that happened, but then the second part, the actual getting there, in terms of talking to this girl that I was flirting with, it didn't seem bad because once I was there at the party, I didn't feel bad, but I just felt like it was not it. It was not it.
Mm. When did that feeling set in?
Well, let me take that back. Throughout the night, there were just times where I was like, "What am I doing just here?" And I mean, but then I enjoyed it, and I was like, I also thought it was for a lot of different reasons because I'm not in the right mindset right now. Lost my girlfriend, lost the job. So being not in the right mindset like that, and like makes you want more short term pleasures and more, I guess, validation in a way. So I think that was
Mm.
my main driving force. And in the back, holding up the caboose was these thoughts of no, what's she's just not right for you. She just knows it's just not something you want to get into. But then I knew like she wanted to do something, so I was like, I don't know, maybe get back on my horse a little bit, trying to see what's up. And then like as we were making out, that's when I kind of felt like there was nothing. There was nothing at all. And
Sorry,
that
when
felt
was that? When you felt like it was nothing?
when we started making out. So
Mm. That's so interesting that the moment you do that, the moment you finally lean into that uncertainty, like it's clear to you,
yeah, yeah,
and like you're already, and like you're in.
yeah, and you're ready. You're ready. You're already halfway there. So
Yeah, Jeter felt that shit.
man, he knew. He knew. He was like, "You ain't being a dog today."
Jeter was like, man, there was this fucking pit bull that I saw on the side of the road, and she had the fattest ass. But I knew she wasn't the one for me. He's trying to get on this talk right now. But my red rocket was about to take off. Fucking Jeter.
If there was words that you would probably say, that would definitely be it right there.
Jeter understands, and honestly, I respect him coming out of the dark into the light and showing his face.
Yeah,
To,
no, he's for sure a dog to me, man. He's for sure a dog, and he understands what I'm going through, and he understands what it means to be a guy, to be a guy.
that's a good dog.
So
That's a good dog right there. No, yeah, man. I mean, I've been there so many times before too, where like I'm with the girl and I just know like I literally had this the other night. Like there was a girl here where like everything in me was like telling me, and I could feel it. Like, oh, like this is not good. Like I could not put my finger on it. I was just like, why like do I feel this way? And like it was like an intuitive thing, but like we got to a point where we were hanging out, and I was just like, fuck it, I just want to like make out with her. And I felt like that, and like it's so funny, bro. Like after she left, like I just had like this bad feeling in my stomach, like oh man, like I should not have done that. And it's like I feel like it's so much easier to go into these pits of like of being in a down when we because you in like going to that party when you had those thoughts saying that you shouldn't go, you hooking up with that girl when you were like questioning it throughout, me like continuing to hang out with this girl even though I wasn't feeling it, like me like going to forcing a kiss with her, and like when after feeling that is like that's going back on ourselves, you know. And it's like we got I think like we it's right now in my life like I'm learning like the importance of listening to yourself and trusting like your own personal like your gut basically, you know, like when you feel like something is up or you hear that internal voice like you got to do something different or do something else, you can't be doing this. And it's such a hard thing to do because it's in the mind, you know, and you're like it's like this back and forth, should I or should I not, you know. And it's like maybe I'm overthinking it, I'm just gonna go for it, you know. And it's like I feel like it's so easy just to shoot yourself in the foot. I've had a fucking like AK-47 fucking shooting my shit, dude. And it's so like
Yeah,
it's so frustrating because it's like you feel like you know that you know better.
you do know that you know better. You know it. You know it like from the very start, and it's weird because it's like it's such a small voice though. It's like, and obviously this is probably our consciousness, but it's like, hey buddy, and it starts off with like a hey buddy, and you're like, well, fuck this, and then it's like, hey man, that sounds very bad what she's saying, and you're like, you know, you're kind of right, but I'm intrigued,
Yeah.
man. And then you do the action, and then almost immediately, or like for me, that's how it felt at least. Maybe yeah, almost immediately, where I just felt like empty inside, like numb and all of that. And that's why like I wanted to talk about it, is like because it's like I feel like men like to be masculine or to be like a top dog, you have to have all these women. You have to have like um well not have all the women, but just be like someone who can talk to girls and has confidence and all that. And we're always taught like if the moment presents yourself, you gotta do it. I mean, you're a dude, you know what I mean? You really don't want to, like, bro, we hardly get any attention itself. So when we do get, like, attention, it's like, wow, I haven't felt this in a while. So, and it almost sucks because, like, I kind of want to hear what you were to say about your new ideas of sex because I feel like I also have some things I want to talk about with that. And, and I feel like it's a more emotional and more spiritual process for me, maybe, and that's why I feel like hooking up is not my thing. I
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten what I wanted when I've just hooked up with the girl.
Right. And in doing that, and I've learned this from myself, in doing that, you're also betraying yourself. Like, bro, I went through this. Oh fuck! I went through this fucking period of time where so coming into the new year, I just knew and I felt like you know what, like I want a girlfriend. You know, I internally deep down want like a relationship with a girl that I care about. I don't want to just hook up. And I had this idea like, oh, like when I meet a girl, I want to like take my time with her. I don't want to just jump into bed with her really fast. I want to like, go on a few dates, and like I want when eventually we do have sex, like it's like, oh, I don't just see the body, I see you. And it's like I want to please you. I don't want to just like I don't just see the body and like I'm like, I get turned on, and I do that, and then because I feel like whenever I do that, and this sounds really messed up to say, but it's like I don't like it's tough to say on a podcast, man. But I wanted this shit to be raw. It's just like the truth of it is like I don't really care to get to know her anymore. It's like, and it's like the way that I see it is like if this girl gives me that shit so fast, my mind immediately goes to like, man, like she's easy. And it's you don't value things that are easy to get. Like me personally, and I'm speaking for myself, but I think a lot of people can relate to this. Is like you don't value something that is just like right here. Like that, and Andrew Tate says this. He's like, why is a Ferrari valuable? Why are mansions valuable? Why is like a nice body valuable? Because they're hard to get. They take time. They take effort. They take consistency. And it's like if a girl makes me wait for sex more and more, like amazing things happen because it's like number one, like it just gives going. If let's just say sex is your thing, like it just builds sexual tension more and more and more, and and I don't know. I feel like when like you don't get that sex right away, like that sexual, like you still view her with that, but like at the same time that falls a little bit, and it's like okay, like you should start to like see more of the person. You start to like see more of who she is, and her, and and you notice like the little things about her, and you appreciate the little things about her, and it's like, oh, if I want to have sex with her, I gotta work for this. I gotta like put in effort, and she had the same for me. And again, this goes back to you. You gotta value your body. You can't just give yourself away so fast. It's like nah, like and I'm starting to. This is really starting to hit me now. But it's like nah, like this is my energy. This is my temple. And sex is a very strong exchange of energy. Very, 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 very strong exchange of energy. I would say one of the strongest. Um, and it's like I gotta know that you're good. I gotta know that you're solid. That do I want to? Do I? And that's why you gotta get to know her. Because like the thing is that you're not just transferring fluids, you're transferring energies, you're transferring emotions, you're transferring thoughts, you're trying like we're energetic beings. Right now, you and I, we're transferring thought, we're transferring energy. That's why everybody that you hang out with, like you become them. I will never forget, Andrew, that one time where we were in a car together and we had those two girls in the back seat and like they're talking to us and they tell us something at the exact same time in the exact same cadence. Well, you and me, like perfect sync, are like, oh, cool, that's dope. At the exact same time. Like we weren't even thinking about it. Like that just came out of us, but it came out of us. Even the spacing of after what she said that both of us responded was the exact same. And what were we doing that entire summer? All the time. We were together all the time. That was a dope ass summer, by the way. That was probably one of my favorite summers I've ever had, bro. Such a fucking good time with you guys, man. But like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I agree.
Yeah, and like what's funny is I never talked about this, but like I would notice like you would say things, Tate would say things, and I would say things with like we would like mimic each other's like way of speaking. Like we'd be laughing, and then like I feel like back then I used to like always say, "Oh, that's so funny," after we got done laughing, and I noticed you did it one time. I never said anything, but I just noticed it, and then like um we all of us were saying motherfucker, you know,
Okay.
and like it's like we were, because we were exchanging so much energy between each other, you
Right.
know. So um, so in having that exchange, it's like we're exchanging each other's like thoughts, beliefs, even like our confidence levels. To all think about it. You, me, and Tate, our confidence was fucking floored. You
Yeah.
know, like we really weren't like we weren't like different from each other. Like there wasn't like one of us that was super confident and one of us that was a little less. One of us a little less. We were all kind of like in like a good little range.
Yeah.
And then what we focused on all the time? We just wanted to go out. We just wanted to party. We just wanted to party at Tate's house. We wanted to smoke. We wanted to drink. But we were on that together, and it's like in hanging out with each other. We were feeding that to each other more and more and more. And then like the same goes with a woman. It's like if you're gonna have sex with her, you transfer that. Like it's everything's an energy exchange. And that's why, oh man, this is all like hitting with me right now. It's like that's why you got to be careful with who you have sex with. And it's like, man, it's just. I was gonna bring up this story too. Um, but before I say that, I thought you were gonna say something.
Well, just like a quick little. I mean, it's essentially what I was thinking about all day yesterday. Was that exact thought? Is that it's not something too easy. Like it's not. It shouldn't be that easy to be with a girl. It shouldn't be like let's. We talked for about 2 minutes or 15 minutes or however long it took you to talk to someone, and immediately go home with them and see them naked, be them the most vulnerable state they could ever be in.
Yes.
Be literally inside them, and to just knock it off as something like, that was a girl, that was something, and that kind of like brings it back to, like I said about like I feel like you can't have to feel a certain way about a person. I feel like I've always felt like I cared about the people I have been with, just because it's such an emotional. I feel the emotion. I feel all the like that energy you're talking about, that transfer of energy, and it feels like it. I feel like I'm a very empathetic person, so when I grab that energy, like I care about that person. So, but
Damn, that's pretty deep, bro.
yeah, so
So
that's what
and maybe like that's why. Do you think it takes a lot out of you?
I believe so. I believe so. Cause like I always just want to listen to people because I feel like everyone has their stories and everyone has their problems that they're going through, and like when I'm already in that deep, we're gonna be deep rooted essentially in our transfers of energy in the deepest sense. I want to get to know um, your painful side. I want to like make you feel heard in that sense, and I feel like that's like one thing I've always tried to give to people is just that feeling of let me hear everything you got to say. So
So when you don't get that, you feel drained.
I feel drained. I feel numb. Like that's what's been happening.
Mm. So that's interesting because earlier I was saying like you like listening to someone and giving them that. I was saying that that's draining for you. But it's the opposite because you like that. You like that like giving them that space.
Right. That like I think like we're saying is that it's such a deep and like super sacred thing to have sex with someone. Honestly, in my opinion, and
Mm.
to just not go deep with them mentally, it it fucks me up because I'm just like I felt the deepness, but I don't know anything about you, and it's fucking crazy.
Hmm. That is deep, bro. That's really deep and like I think that's where I'm starting to be now.
Hmm.
because there was a there was like this time this year, like in 2 3 months, I think I hooked up with like 6 or 7 girls, right? And I was talking about this earlier. Like prior to this, I was thinking, oh, I want a relationship. I don't want to have sex with this girl. I'm gonna give it some time. I'm gonna like push it off, right? And and then the first girl comes around, and that's just out the window. And remember, like when I got with her after we were done, like it's like that thought was in the back of my head, like that's not what you wanted. And then like the next girl came around, and I did it again. And at this point, I kind of like had some momentum, And then like the next girl came around, next girl, next girl, next girl. And I remember like after like the fifth or sixth one, I remember, bro, like I think like we were talking about this in the first episode. Like that's every kid's dream, right? But like after that last one, bro, I felt like so low and so drained. I felt so like it just felt wrong. What I what I like what I was doing. And I think what it was that I was giving so much of my energy to these girls and also taking theirs too. Without, creating any kind of real connection. And when you pay attention to yourself, I think that's when like these things like start to reveal themselves to you is like oh shit, like this actually isn't like what this is what my body wants, but this isn't what like my soul needs.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true because I guess like you could just keep, like you said, keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. But it's almost like lying to yourself again. Going back to lying to yourself is that you are lying to yourself, and as a kid, and I feel like um, everyone, I guess every guy. Well, it depends on the guy, but I feel like most guys feel this way where it's like I always wanted to be that guy that that is good with women. You know what I mean? And but like when I slowly got into that party stage, that talking to all these girls type stage, and it was short lived for me too as well. I feel like most of the time, again, it feels like numbing in a way, and I don't know if it's because like to hook up for me as well, I have to be drinking because like it's just such a quick to get somewhere quick with like that usually happens at a bar, at a party, at a somewhere else. That is probably there's alcohol involved. So I've noticed that too. Is that when the drinking goes up, the hooking up goes up. I'm trying to think, trying to piece together why that is. But you also because you probably get more horny. People are more open in the beginning.
Well, I read this in a again this course that I've been taking about energy, and the reason why like hooking up is easier when you're drunk. So when you start to drink, the more you drink, it's like when you're completely sober, you're fully conscious, and then when the more you drink, you become like over the time spent you drink, you become more and more unconscious. Think about like when you black out. And that's after drinking too much. And you're fully it's like there's fully conscious and then there's fully what?
Unconscious.
Yeah, after drinking too much. And
Yeah.
like the thing is, how many people like will wake up in the bed the next morning next to a girl and not even remember how like it happened?
Yeah.
And it's because they were fully unconscious. They weren't aware. And alcohol strips you of that awareness.
Yes. That
Um
you
I
got.
don't I don't drink anymore. Um
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think the last time I drank was like in May, and then before that, I don't even remember the last time that I drank. Um, but last time that I drank, bro, that's the last time that I hooked up with one of the girls. That was the last one, and it's so funny, bro, because like I hardly even remember like most of our interaction, and and then it's funny because that was the one that actually seemed to hurt the most,
Fuck.
and and yeah, it's just about like I think everything that is like the best in life, that's like the most meaningful, is that which is conscious. Like
Right.
think about alcohol. Alcohol makes you more emotional,
Yeah. Definitely.
right? And we could even go as far to say that being emotional can be a very unconscious state. Like when you're super fucking angry, like some people black out when they're that angry, or when you're super sad, you're not thinking, or when you're super horny, you're not thinking. You're just going with this wave of feeling, which is, I would say, unconscious. Um, so I think like the best things, it's hitting me right now, bro. The best things require that discipline,
Yes.
require that like that centeredness, that stoicness, that like oh like this girl, oh this baddie's hitting me up. Oh, she's like imagine like some girl, some dime, straight 10 right now. Hey Andrew, I'm home alone. What like immediately like you're like the feelings are gonna just arise, and you're
Yeah.
gonna want to go, right?
Right.
And then but then imagine this: you follow that wave of feelings. You go there and do it. You come back home, but throughout that entire time, you had that small voice that
Yeah.
said you don't really want to do this. You probably shouldn't do this. And then you come home the next morning. Think about that drive home.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough. It was a tough one.
Think about that drive home, knowing that you had that voice telling you that you didn't want that.
It's like crazy because it's like immediately you feel like it's funny you picked up on me right away. It was like that shamefulness. Well, not shamefulness, but it's like, what did I do? It's like, why didn't I control myself? All the signs were there. Everything was saying no, but there you were, still going for it. And that just made sense right now when you were talking about. It's like how I'm seeing it now. It's like, yeah, the consciousness versus the unconsciousness. The unconsciousness kind of just goes about whatever it so merrily wants to do. And like that's what I was actually thinking today is that I was walking my dog. And my dog doesn't think like I want to fuck that dog, or he does. He's like maybe I want to fuck that dog, but he doesn't think like, but maybe I shouldn't because it's out in public and no and everyone is watching us, and that would be very embarrassing for me. And I, having this urge is normal to me. But the thing is, you could say that about a human. Like having our urges is normal to us, but the fact that when we can't control it, I mean, people start looking at you like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, hey, calm down," or "Hey, it's not that bad," or like when you have your emotions arise, people look at you a little differently, or you look at yourself a little differently. You're like that's not something I want to be. I think you always tell yourself that's not something. It did not align to who I was at the core.
To who you are.
Who you are, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, man. I mean, like, yeah, like dogs, like they're not self-conscious. Dogs are just like present. They just like they don't give a fuck. They don't have that level of consciousness. And it's like that'd be nice if we were like that.
Yeah.
But I think we were like that when we were like, if evolution is true, when we were evolving, because the whole like evolution of consciousness has been like we were once like in our like very egoic state, which was just survival, survival, survival. Like it's like there was no shame in rape. There was no shame in killing because it was for survival. But now we're at a point where we don't need that anymore. So like our consciousness has risen, and through consciousness rising, I think that's when like a lot more of like our morals come along, a lot more of like our our like effect on everybody around us. Um, man, like I think it's so beautiful that we're having this conversation right now because I think that this is the direction the world's going in. Like the world's consciousness. Have you heard about the shift?
Uh, no. Or the 80 years type thing? Is that something? Or no?
I don't know if it has anything to do with 80 years,
Okay.
um, but the consciousness of our planet is shifting right now to a higher level, a higher dimension. And bro, I feel like what you and I are talking about right now. I'm calling this right now, September 11th, 2024.
Good
I'm
day.
calling this right now that what you and I are talking about is going to be so much more common in the years to come. Because I think a lot of people are starting to become conscious, starting to wake up. Like one thing I was thinking of, like, how does someone go their entire life doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. I I don't know. I don't know how. I agree with you, and like again, but it's like that other side of you where you just feel like like I didn't want to go to work every day. I mean, and I'm pretty sure everyone feels that way. Like there's some days you just don't feel like going to work, and so the fact that that is something that you feel and like you still do it anyways makes it harder to align with yourself. So like, but the thing is, you're doing it because someone else is telling you to do it. But it's the same feeling that you get like when I was shameful about hookups. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't want to do it, but you not had to do it, but you just know that in your mind at that point it was probably the most beneficial thing.
Yes. Would you say that it could be very rather impulsive? I know we're doing a podcast right now, but
Yeah.
my eating window is coming up,
Okay.
or it finished 14 minutes ago, and I want to get some fruit in me. So
Okay.
um
And actually, I mean that's kind of good because well, I have about 15 minutes left. Letting you know, I do.
okay. So you were saying about how like in the moment, it seems the most beneficial thing you could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and it's like, well, let me ask you, what do you think about that?
So it's crazy because even with the job, it's a more long term process, and like I didn't really like my job personally. It was all right, but it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. I wasn't like super thrilled. I mean, honestly, there were some times where I was like, I'm gonna have to do this today. So even that, like a long term thing and a short term thing, like hooking up with someone, both of those things, you know the consequences to it, and then you know what you would do. You will like you start seeing the paths that you take, right? It's like if I do this, this will happen. If I do that, this will happen. And like for me, like the whole reason why I was scared to lose my job or it's like what am I gonna do with my money? It's like that path was that path was less or more scary at the time than keeping the job itself. So it's like whatever beats it. And like for me, like with the hooking up, it was like it would make me feel better if I did this at the moment, even though it would have been a safer option in the long term to say, nah, like I'm chilling. So
Mm, short term gratification,
hmm yeah, and
bro.
it is crazy to me because I feel like if you actually think about it, short-term gratification is technically what we all technically it's what we should be craving. Like this is what I got. Short-term gratification is something. If we actually want to be present, if you really think about it, if you couldn't think about the future, you would obviously choose a like. You would obviously choose like if you saw an acorn on the ground. Yeah,
Okay.
let's not use an
Are
acorn.
you fucking squirrels in this
Well,
example, or are you fucking humans?
I was thinking if you were a squirrel and you saw an acorn on the ground, right? You immediately pick it up, right?
Yeah.
But you take that acorn back to your house or whatever, to your squirrel house.
Yeah.
But if that squirrel kept walking just a little bit longer, he would have found 20 acorns. But it's like he doesn't process a future where if he just waited 10 more seconds, you would have had 20 acorns instead of one acorn. And so if we couldn't process the future, short-term gratification is all we would want at all times because that's part of being present. That's part of being here is that obviously you want to get your needs settled immediately because if not, either you die or you won't reproduce, you won't survive, you won't do those things.
Having patience.
Hmm.
Bro, this podcast for me is gonna help me out a lot.
Yeah.
Because being able to talk to somebody else and like kind of just hearing things back, like, bro, this whole time, like, I've been thinking a lot more about being in the present. You know, like I want to do what I want to do now,
Yeah.
and I feel like, you know, you and I talked about death. I think in the first episode, we've talked about our experiences with that on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and recently I've been in this spot thinking like, why the fuck am I going to prepare for the future if I could die tomorrow? But like overall, that's just like not a.
It just
That doesn't seem like a good way to think to think. But at the same, but I'm thinking now, okay, there's a balance. It's like,
goes back.
what if you can do something every day that you like to do that also helps you prepare for your future? You know, um,
Like one thing for me is like the gym. I mean, you technically don't do it for you do it for the gains and stuff like that. But I personally enjoy. Well, there are some times where you just don't enjoy the gym, but there's some times where I go to the gym and I'm enjoying the gym at that moment, and it's not even about. But then I can see it in the both. Like in the short term, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel alert. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I have better thoughts. And then the second part is now I'm gonna have better muscles in the future, better health, better, uh, yeah, just better health actually.
see, I think that we should make it a practice to be present even in the moments that we dislike.
Yeah,
Because the better that we can soak in those moments, the better that we can soak in the moments that we do like. You know, I think like the cure, the root to like so much of all this is just like not being in the moment.
mm-hmm.
Like drinking makes you very present. You're not thinking so much. You
Not thinking
know,
about a lot. Yeah,
like I think the more that we practice presence, I think about it when you're in a conversation and you're thinking a lot. It's, the conversation probably isn't going to flow as good because you're not present in the conversation. You know, um, maybe the reason why like you do things that you don't want to do, like that you know that you shouldn't do, is because you're not really present with yourself. You know, maybe that's why we do that kind of stuff. Um, Not thinking about like what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? It's like, okay, where's my feet right now? Right now it doesn't feel good. It's like with the girl the other night. She was talking to me, and I feel like I was present with her at first, but then eventually, like I just kind of just thought about like hooking up with her, and I cared less about what she was saying because I was thinking about a future event. But like if I were to have brought my present back to the moment, maybe I would have realized more. Like, oh man, I'm really not feeling this girl right now in this moment.
So, and that's like it's why it's difficult. I mean, it's just I feel like it's just difficult to be a human being because you have choices. A lot of them, some are good or some are bad, but then some are also good to some people and some are bad to other people. Then, and then if you look at me and I did this decision, you would look at me with this type of emotion. If someone else looked at me, they would look at me with this type of emotion. And knowing all that and the fact that we can understand all that and process all those different things and the fact that we can still stay present, I mean, that's a very, I can see why it's not easy. And I see why people do make mistakes, and people obviously always make mistakes. And I think learning about it and just actually being true with yourself helps more than uh, helps more than just like burying it away or just saying like you'll get it next time, because most of the time learning does not, it takes effort, it does take effort.
God, what you just said right now hits deep with me, bro. Learning next time. Like I'll think about that. I'll be like, oh, like I'm gonna try it out anyways, and like I'll see what happens. When like I know I don't want that. Like, oh, I'll learn this time. But like, why put yourself through that?
Right, right.
Um, One thing that I want to like emphasize on this podcast too, something that I think you and I are going to grow in a lot together, is not giving a fuck what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
You know, like fuck what people, fuck what anyone thinks about what you did. What do you think about what you did?
What do I think about it?
Well, I'm not asking you. I'm just saying, like in
Like, right.
general,
Okay,
like
yeah.
fuck, because bro, you could do one thing, and you could have an entire room of people think completely different things about you.
Yeah. No, yeah.
You know, like there's someone who's gonna see what you did. Like there's someone out there, Andrew, who was there, who sees what you did, and was like, bro, good fucking shit, dog.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Bro, you're the fucking man for that.
Yeah.
You, you know, it's like it's almost like imagine winning poker. Imagine winning a poker championship. You get millions of dollars, and then you're regarded as the best poker player of all time. But you know you cheated.
Yes. That's
Everyone's telling you, bro, good shit, you're the fucking man, you're the fucking man. And you're like, yeah, 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 yeah. But on the inside, you know, I'm a fraud.
yeah. Yeah.
You gotta live with that.
Yeah.
You know? And like, you know, my philosophy now is, bro, is like direct all the attention inward. How do I feel about the girls that I hooked up with? It doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
Even though everyone else, there are guys who never get laid, who are in their late 20s, early 30s, fucking 40s, who never get pussy. Who are gonna hear this and gonna be like, bro, you're so fucking stupid. Like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, you got all these girls, you don't see what my life is like, man. I would do anything. No matter what, it doesn't feel right to me.
Yes. Yes.
And that's being true to yourself.
Yeah, no,
Being true to yourself is like us having a disagreement. Me telling you, Andrew, I think that's wrong. And you telling me I don't think so. You know? And it's like, bro, fuck what anyone thinks, bro. I think if you're gonna care what anyone thinks, now that I'm thinking about it, it should be a group of like maybe 4 or 5 people. People who this is my personal preference. People who know themselves. Ooh, not even know you knows themselves. Damn, someone who knows themselves. Someone who is emotionally intelligent, who's empathetic, who's understanding, but most importantly, the first one who knows themselves. And
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people really know themselves. Like think about how much you and I, how much personal work you and I have done on ourselves, and we're still like betraying ourselves. You know, most people don't do this much internal reflection as you and I do. You know, and that's an assumption, of course, but like I don't think most people do.
Yeah.
So it's
Like,
like if you're gonna care about what someone thinks, you gotta. I feel like you gotta really know this person. Like thinking about this, I only care about what maybe like two, maybe three people think. Sometimes caring about people will come in, but like when like I really like consciously sit, get away from my emotions and feelings and think about it, whose opinions really matter? You know?
yeah, I mean, and in closing, Isaac, because yeah, time is a crunching right now. But in closing, I feel like you said about the people who you really listen to, they also have to be true to themselves, and obviously, are they going to betray themselves as well? Yes, but and do they know your exact situation when you told them, and like do they know all the details and know exactly why you did it, why exactly it happened the way it happened? No, so it's like you talk to someone about it, and then you just slowly, take it with a grain of salt, the advice, because it's like no matter how much that person is themselves, they just were not there, or if they were there, they were seeing it from a different angle as well. So
That's facts. That's fucking facts. And we're gonna end episode 2 with the fucking fact
good
that
night.
we're here, we're doing this shit. Andrew, I am grateful that we're doing this. I'm grateful for the podcast. I'm grateful that we're gonna that for this discussion that we had today. And for anybody who sees this, please, if you disagree with us, please say something. You know, because that will help strengthen you and strengthen us in who we are.
Yes, yes.
Um, but this has been episode 2 uh, with Isaac Garcia,
And your boy Angie Martinez.
and we will be signing off for from All Inclusive today. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good day, guys.